Hey there guys, welcome back to Crash Bandicoot Wrath of Cortex. We're going to spend a little while in the warp room just jumping around, because these are some really hard time trials in the fourth warp room. I don't think any one of these I actually got on its first try, so as with pretty much all the time, there's no point in hitting exclamation mark boxes you see around. They generally just add more boxes to get in your way. There's very rarely a time stop amongst them. While it does initially look and maybe feel like you can get that jump along those platforms in one shot, I'm not actually convinced it is. I did try it at one point and couldn't make it. So after that point I just decided it was better off playing it safe. This level becomes a lot easier when you realise there's Aku Aku masks everywhere and it's a pretty short level. It's even more fun when you get to the avalanche section, because the vast majority of boxes are scattered around the middle of the course, so provided you're staying roughly central, or at least trying as best you can with the snowboard controls, you should be able to just, on reflex, swerve left and right to grab the time stops. It's also another example of why having no apples in the time trials makes these levels a bit harder. Once again, like I mentioned in Bamboozled, know where the exit is, because otherwise you just waste seconds hunting down where the exit is. A gold relic. And moving on to another hard level. At least a time trial. Possibly the hardest thing early in this level is getting that first jump right, first of all, because that first jump is crazy. That first jump is crazy precise. If you don't jump right on the edge of the platform, you're gonna miss you're gonna fall short of the jump, or you're gonna have to double jump, which freezes you slightly in midair, and obviously that's gonna waste a second or so. The pair of 2 second time stops you saw near the end, on that first set of netting. There's no point getting those. It's going to take you longer to get there and get back than it will than the time you'll save by getting them. That netting there is also a bit of a bitch. Having your timings right as you're going down that section, so you just whenever you can, you need to jump down to the second level and just sprint. Once you get to the robot, it's really not all that complicated. There's time stop boxes everywhere, so provided you can just avoid the enemies and make your jumps. Having the masks helps as well. A little kick to get the boxes off the top of the nitros. If you haven't already perfected it just by going through these levels normally, you're gonna perfect it when you're going for the time trials, just because it becomes so necessary. Also, nitro shooting. If you know more or less where you need to be to immediately have that lock on the nitro, it's gonna massively help your time. Like for the higher level relics, there's no space for wasting vast amounts of time aiming. And at this point, just tanking stuff with what you should have at least 2 masks by this point, so tanking stuff is a very real possibility. was actually my second relic winning run, as you can tell by the leaderboard. And just on that second run, being able to knock over 30 seconds off my time.
Cortex has assembled an armada of space stations that are ready to strike the planet. Use the lasers on your ship to destroy them.
This is a hard level just to get the clock on, because you fly past the clock, which doesn't happen on any other of these flying levels. It was a theory in the thread, and yes, that is pretty much going to be your biggest problem on this level, is enemies flying into you. Because, as you can see there, enemies love to kamikaze in this level. I don't know if it's just an enemy thing, I don't know if it's purely a time trial thing, because I don't remember enemies being that aggressive. At least not going through this level for the first time normally. Now, you may remember the first time we went through this whole thing was pretty much a cakewalk. Because you can take your time, you can actually take the time to shoot down some asteroids, you can shoot down some enemies. But when you go in for the relic, you don't have anywhere near that kind of leeway. So you have to end up wasting time as enemies keep constantly kamikazeing you. Just to keep wasting time just going off to get those medical balloons. I mean, there's time stops everywhere, as with every flight level. But all they're really doing is offsetting the time you're taking to go away and find the health balloons. Like, the theory was the developers just weren't good at the flight levels, which is why their relic times are so generous. But this level, like, seriously, 1 minute 35, and I could not get that any higher. Like, we have a Sapphire relic, and it's going to be a horrific sore spot, because you can see there, 13 seconds. I just could not, over the next hour of playing, I could not find any way to take 13 seconds off that. But we move on, and a nice easy water level relic actually. Mostly because for this early part you have, for this first part of the level you have the sub, so you can just spam missiles, and you can spam depth charges, and all you really have to worry about is avoiding the enemies that you miss, which is going to be a huge minority of the enemies on the level. And you can drop a depth charge down there to hit all the time stops without even stopping, and you can do the same thing there. Obviously, as always, Aku's making this level way easier. That's really one of those things that you really should look out for and prioritise, even above time stops in time trials, is the Aku. I mean, even ignoring the fact that it allows you to just tank some damage and save some time. If you're on a good run, you don't want just that one. If you're on a good run, you don't want that one lucky hit that an enemy gets in, ending your run and forcing you back to the start. I mean, that's just a recipe for frustration, and that's going to affect your later runs. So once you lose the sub, it's just a case of, like I said in the last water level we did, just keep tornado spinning. Like, it becomes invaluable in water levels. I'm also getting a very rare glimpse at a triple mask underwater. I've played Crash games a lot, and I've never gotten 3 masks underwater before, so that was a first for me. And you notice by the end of the level, we've lost all of our masks now. Thankfully low. Exit's right there. Under a minute. Easy gold. Like, provided you're just constantly spamming attacks, whether it's missiles, depth charges, or a tornado spin. Golds are actually pretty easy to come by on water levels. Now this level is seriously hard. But it's not the kind of frustrating hard that was getting to me in Crash Droids, or even Droid Void after a while. This level is pure streamline your run, take chances, fun. Like, there's those blades there. If you do spin, you can occasionally, even if it's spinning, get away without taking any damage. And I did it in a few runs. This, however, was not one of them. Once again, and there's a bit of cheesing. If you take a hit from the robot that's on that climbing net there, because the game still considers you taking damage, you can drop down onto that supposedly bottomless pit and just sprint along it. Other than that, a lot of this level is just hoping you get lucky with some of the timed stuff. Like, running through these lasers is a hell of a lot of fun, just straight up dodging them. This section though, you want to take your time waiting for at least that first blade to stop spinning. Because once that first blade stops spinning, you can sprint through everything else. And as you can see, it's a long, hard level, and under 37 seconds. I was really proud of that run. Like, really, really happy with how that went. But that does it for that warp run. We'll be heading into the 5th one next time, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.